œSomeone someone you love is going away from you because. Someone you love is going away from you because they know they are not good for you. I know that sentence hurts before it even finishes forming in your mind. I know it feels unfair, like punishment without a crime, like loss without consent. But listen to me for a moment. Listen not with the part of you that aches, but with the part of you that still believes love can be kind. They are leaving not because you are unlovable, not because you failed, not because you were too much or not enough. They are leaving because they see something dangerous in themselves, something that could wound you deeply if they stayed too close. Sometimes love does not arrive as staying. Sometimes love arrives as restraint. Sometimes love chooses distance because closeness would become harm. I see how you replay every moment, searching for the place where things could have turned differently. I see you wondering if you could have softened your voice, been quieter, stronger, smaller, more patient, more forgiving. But this is not about your shortcomings. This is about their awareness. They know the way their shadows move. They know the patterns they fall into when intimacy tightens around their chest. They know how their fear sharpens into words, how their pain spills outward, how their unresolved storms break over the people who stand closest. They are afraid of hurting you. Not in an abstract way, not in a distant, polite way, but in the way that keeps them awake at night. In the way that makes them imagine your face changing, your laughter dimming, your trust slowly eroding. They know that if they come closer, if they stay longer, if they let themselves lean fully into what they feel for you, they might damage something pure inside you. And that thought terrifies them more than loneliness ever could. You might think love should be brave, that love should fight, that love should endure anything. And sometimes that is true. But there is another kind of bravery that no one talks about. The bravery of stepping away when staying would satisfy your own longing but cost the other person their peace. The bravery of choosing absence so the person you love does not have to heal from you. I know that does not make the emptiness easier. I know your days feel quieter now, like something essential has been removed from the air. I know you still reach for them in small unconscious ways, still imagine telling them things, still feel the echo of their presence in places they used to occupy. Loss does not need permission to hurt, even when it is done for loving reasons. But hear me clearly now. This separation is not a verdict on your worth. It is not proof that you are difficult to love or destined to be left. It is evidence that you were loved by someone who cared enough about your well-being to put it above their own desire. That matters, even if it hurts. They know themselves better than you know them. They know how close affection can turn into control, how attachment can turn into dependency, how fear can disguise itself as intensity. They know that their healing is unfinished, that their wounds are still open, that they might bleed onto you without meaning to. And they refuse to make you the place where their pain learns to speak. This does not mean they did not love you deeply. In fact, it means the opposite. If they did not care, they would have stayed. They would have taken what you offered. They would have let you carry weight that was never yours to bear. But they saw you as someone to protect, not someone to use as shelter from themselves. I want you to understand something gentle and difficult at the same time. You cannot save someone by standing close to their fire. You cannot heal someone by letting yourself be burned. Love is not proven by endurance alone. Love is also proven by boundaries, by restraint, by knowing when your presence would become a wound instead of a comfort. You may feel abandoned. You may feel chosen against. But from where I stand, this looks like someone refusing to turn you into collateral damage in their unfinished journey. This looks like someone stepping back so you do not have to step backward in your own growth. This looks like love that knows its limits. There will be moments when anger rises in you, like a quiet fire that suddenly grows. You may feel it in your chest, in your hands, in the way your thoughts rush and repeat. You may find yourself thinking, over and over, that if they really cared, they would have stayed, they would have fought for you, they would have tried harder. Part of you might want to shout that truth into the sky, or into a pillow, or into the empty space they left behind. Let that anger exist. Do not push it down so deep that it turns into something darker. It is part of grieving, part of loving, part of being human. It shows that what you lost matters to you. But as that anger rises and falls like a wave, do not let it rewrite the truth of what happened. Do not let it tell you lies about yourself. Trying harder does not always mean staying. Trying harder does not always mean holding on until your hands bleed. Sometimes trying harder means stepping back, even when it hurts. Sometimes trying harder means admitting that you are not the right person to stand this close to someone œSomeone's heart, because you might crush it without meaning to. Sometimes trying harder means saying, œSomeone, I love you, but I cannot love you in the way you deserve. I am not safe for you. I am not steady enough, healed enough, or gentle enough yet. œSomeone, this is not the story you wanted. I know that. You wanted a story where love fixes everything, where staying is always the proof of care, where the ones you choose you just as fully. You wanted a story where effort alone can heal every wound and mend every fracture. But love does not always look like staying, and leaving does not always mean a lack of love. Sometimes it means the opposite. A painful, honest respect for how easily your heart can be hurt and how deeply their damage could cut you if they stayed close. You are not weak for missing them. Hear that again. You are not weak for missing them. Your tears do not mean you are failing. Your loneliness does not mean you are broken. You are not foolish for wishing things were different, for replaying conversations in your mind, for wondering if one different word or one different choice could have changed everything. This is what minds do when they are trying to understand loss. This is what hearts do when they are trying to live with an empty space. You are human. And humans bond. Humans tie invisible strings between each other, strings made of time and trust and laughter and shared pain. These strings do not simply vanish when distance appears. They do not dissolve just because someone walks away or chooses another path. Bonds are slow to loosen, they are patient and stubborn. They linger in memories, in objects, in songs, in places where you once stood together. So of course you still feel them. Of course you still reach for them in your thoughts. There is nothing foolish about that. But this space they have created around you is not empty, even if it feels like a wide, cold field right now. It is doing a quiet work that you cannot yet see. It is protecting you in ways that are not easy to notice from the inside of your pain. Right now, you may only feel the absence, the silence, the missing pieces. But within that space, your nervous system is slowly learning that it does not have to be on constant alert anymore. Your heart is quietly learning that it no longer has to flinch in preparation for the next hurt. Your spirit is being given room to breathe without having to make itself smaller to keep the peace. €1, not today, and maybe not soon, but €1, you will notice that you are breathing more freely. You will realize that there is more air in your lungs and a little more light in your chest. You will catch yourself laughing, and it will not feel forced. Your laughter will surprise you, because for a moment you forgot to be sad. Your thoughts will feel a little calmer, a little softer, not always circling back to the same questions that have been haunting you. You will notice that you are no longer shrinking in conversations, no longer walking on eggshells, no longer bracing for a reaction that never comes. You will notice that you are not over-explaining yourself all the time, not trying to prove that you are worth staying for, not apologizing for taking up space or having needs. You will realize that you are not scanning the room for danger, not listening for a tone in œSomeone's voice that might mean you are about to be hurt again. You will learn, slowly and gently, that love does not have to feel like walking on fragile ground. It does not have to feel like holding your breath. It does not have to feel like waiting for the next break, the next explosion, the next silent withdrawal. Love does not have to keep you in a constant state of fear that one wrong move will make everything fall apart. And when that day comes, when you feel the weight lifting, when you feel yourself expanding instead of shrinking, you will understand something that is hard to see right now. You will understand why this person had to go. They are not walking away because you are hard to love. I know your pain tells you that. I know your mind whispers that if you were better, calmer, prettier, kinder, smarter, quieter, louder, more this or less that, they would have stayed. Your thoughts are trying to write a story where it is your fault so that you can believe you have control. But this is not the truth. They are not walking away because you are too much or not enough. They are walking away because you are easy to damage, because your heart is tender and open, because you love deeply, and that depth makes you vulnerable. They do not trust themselves not to damage you if they stay close. Maybe they know their own potential, their anger, their fear, their inconsistency, their habits of leaving and returning, their sharp words or cold silences. Maybe they have seen the way they have hurt people before and they feel that familiar pull inside them, the urge to repeat old harm. Maybe they see how much power they could have over you and that knowledge frightens them. So they choose to step away rather than risk breaking you in ways they would never be able to fix. This distinction matters more than you know. There is a big difference between I am leaving because you are unlovably and I am leaving because I am not safe enough or healed enough to love you well. One story says you are broken. The other says they are still broken. One story attacks your worth. The other admits their limits. One tells you to hate yourself. The other invites you to protect yourself and to see your value as something precious, something worth guarding. Let yourself grieve without turning grief into self-blame. Cry if you need to. Sit in the dark if you need to. Write, scream into a pillow, talk to someone you trust, or simply lie still and let the pain move through you. You do not have to be strong in the way the world often defines strength. Real strength is not always about holding yourself together. Sometimes it is about allowing yourself to fall apart safely and honestly. Grief is not a sign that you did something wrong. It is a sign that you loved, that you cared, that you hoped. Let yourself remember the good without romanticizing the harm that could have followed. There were moments of warmth, of laughter, of connection. It is okay to cherish those. You do not have to rewrite every memory as bad to justify your pain. You can honor the good that was real and still accept that it was not enough to build a safe future with. You can say, œSomeone, there were beautiful days, and also say, œSomeone still, I am better off without the damage that might have come. Both can be true at the same time. Let yourself believe that love can exist without possession. You do not need to own someone for your feelings to be real. You do not need to keep them close forever to honor what you shared. You can release them and still hold respect for the love that once was. You can accept that care can exist without permanence, that some connections are meant to be brief but meaningful, that not every important person is meant to stay for a lifetime. Some arrive just long enough to teach you something, to show you something about yourself, to open a door you did not know existed. Then they leave, and their leaving does not erase the value of what they brought. I am here with you in this quiet aftermath. I am with you in the moments when the world feels too still, when the silence after their absence is loud and heavy, when you do not know what to do with your hands or your heart. I see your heart folding inward, trying to protect itself, trying to make itself smaller so it will not be hurt again. I see the way you question your worth, replay the last moments, wonder if there is something you could do to bring them back. I see your longing, your confusion, your deep wish for clarity, for a reason that feels big enough to justify this pain. And I want you to know this, you are not being punished. This is not a punishment for something you did or did not do. This is not the universe telling you that you are undeserving of love. This is not proof that you are cursed to be alone. You are being spared. You are being saved from wounds that would cut deeper than what you feel now. You are being spared from patterns that would slowly drain your joy. You are being spared from a love that might have turned into control, or emotional harm, or a slow erosion of your self-worth. Sometimes the greatest mercy does not feel kind in the moment. Sometimes being spared looks like loss. Sometimes protection feels like abandonment at first. But in time, your heart will see more of the picture. You will notice what never happened to you because this person left when they did. You will notice the pain that did not take root, the harm that did not become your normal. You will notice the parts of yourself that were preserved, the sparks of light that were not crushed. What is meant to stay in your life will arrive without needing to destroy you first. You will not have to break yourself into pieces to fit into it. You will not have to trade your peace for some œSom's presence. The people who are meant to be in your life long term will not demand that you stop being yourself just to keep them comfortable. They will not ask you to dim your light so they can shine brighter. They will come with respect, with responsibility, with a willingness to grow, to apologize, to try again in healthy ways. Dear one, what is meant for you will never demand that someone shatter their own œSomeone, or that you fracture your œSomeone, just to make the relationship possible. True love, the kind woven into the fabric of what is truly yours, arrives without requiring endless sacrifice as its entry fee. It may not be flawless. It may not always feel effortless. There will be days when it asks for patience, for understanding, for the quiet courage to show up even when you're tired. But it will never ask you to accept a steady drip of harm as proof of devotion. It will not force you to push your own needs into the shadows, to pretend your pain doesn't exist, or to silence your voice because speaking it feels inconvenient. Real love does not greet your emotions with dismissal. It does not label your longing for safety as too much, nor does it frame your desire for basic care as an unreasonable demand. When something is genuinely meant for you, it meets your vulnerability not with judgment, but with curiosity and tenderness. It challenges you gently, sometimes firmly but never to the point of breaking you open in ways that leave permanent scars. Instead, it invites both of you into growth that expands rather than diminishes. You become more yourself in its presence, not less. Your edges soften without being erased. Your light grows brighter, not dimmed to avoid outshining someone else. And then there is the love that waits beyond this momento, the one you cannot yet touch, the one that sometimes feels like a beautiful myth from where you stand in the ruins of what was. That love will not need cruelty disguised as kindness. It will not believe that vanishing is the only way to spare you pain. Its gentleness will show up in presence, not absence. It will choose to stay through the ordinary Tuesdays when nothing dramatic is happening, when the dishes are piled in the sink and the conversation is quiet. It will listen to you, not just to the words you say, but to the silences between them. It will learn you, not as a project to fix, but as a person to cherish. When it stumbles over its own imperfections, it will not flee. It will roll up its sleeves and work on them, because staying and improving feels more honest than running. This coming love will not shrink from the vastness of your heart. It will not ask you to make yourself smaller so it can feel comfortable. It will step forward with open hands, ready to hold the depth, the intensity, the beautiful complexity that makes you who you are. It will treat your feelings like something precious, worthy of care, worthy of time, worthy of effort. But until that chapter turns the page, sweet soul, give yourself permission to rest. You do not have to hurry through this season of mending. There is no deadline for being over it. Your heart knows its own rhythm, and it deserves to be honored. Some mornings you will wake and feel the weight has lifted a little, other mornings you will open your eyes and find the grief waiting right there beside you, as familiar as breath. Both are true. Both are part of the path. Healing does not march in a straight, predictable line. It wanders. It pauses in sunlit clearings. It circles back to old wounds only to whisper, "We're softer with this one now." It rests in stillness for long stretches while invisible roots grow deep beneath the surface. So heal in the gentlest ways available to you right now. Drink water slowly, letting each sip feel like a small act of kindness toward your body. Step out even for 3 minutes, and let the air brush against your skin like a reminder that the world is still moving, still breathing with you. If the sun is shining, turn your face toward it and let the warmth soak in. If the sky is heavy and gray, allow the quiet light filtering through your window to cradle you instead. Reach out to the one or two people whose presence feels like safety, not performance. Write the unsent letter euro, pour everything onto the page, then fold it away. Let music find you, songs that say exactly what your heart has been trying to articulate. When the inner critic arrives to tell you you're not healing fast enough, answer with grace. Whisper to yourself, I am doing the hardest work there is. I am feeling. I am staying alive through this. Even this ache carries purpose, though it may feel meaningless in the thick of it. It is carving clarity into your bones. It is teaching you euro, sometimes painfully euro, what you will no longer tolerate. It is drawing lines around what deserves your tenderness and what does not. Most of all, it is guiding you, step by aching step, toward the love you have always deserved, one that mirrors your own capacity for depth, loyalty, and care. Pain has a way of refining us. It sharpens our vision so we see ourselves more clearly. It softens our judgment toward others who are still bleeding in places we once did. It proves your resiliency euro, not because you never crumble, but because you gather the pieces again and again. You keep choosing to feel when numbness would be easier. You keep hoping when despair feels like the safer option. That quiet, stubborn persistence is strength in its purest form. And yes, there are times when the most loving thing you can do euro, for yourself, for the other person, for the memory of what once was euro, is to release your grip. Letting go is not evidence that the love was false. It is not proof you failed. It is not cold abandonment. Sometimes it is the final, tender offering, choosing long-term peace over prolonged suffering. It honors what existed by refusing to let it decay into resentment. It leaves the door cracked open euro, not for return, but for new light to enter. You are not walking this alone, even when the silence feels deafening. Every intentional breath you draw is forward movement. Every tear that slips down your cheek is carrying away a piece of what no longer serves you. Every fleeting moment when peace brushes against your heart euro, even for seconds euro, is evidence that life is still finding its way back to you. Your story did not end the day someone walked away. It simply began to reshape itself. The outline is changing. The colors are shifting. The tone is becoming gentler, even if you cannot see it yet. Trust that this transformation, as raw and exhausting as it feels right now, is carrying you somewhere kinder. Somewhere softer. Somewhere that finally feels like home. Be patient with your heart. It has carried so much. It is still carrying. And in its own wise time, it will learn to carry joy again euro deeper, fuller, and without apology. You are worthy of every gentle thing coming your way. Rest now. The next beautiful chapter is already writing itself.